So if there's anybody there, I am going to start to color and you can join in and comment. This is a Bestie image and I am using Illustrators by Spectrum Noir, my new fave. And I am using Vintage Pink, Antique Pink, and wrong color. Old Rose and Pink Lace for her boots, and I'm going to start with her face though, because I had the wrong ones right there. So I'm going to start out with TN2 Honeydew, and I'm not sure my camera is, see, it's just not doing what I want it to, but I'm working on it. Hi, Jacqueline. So I'm starting out on the face, and only because that's what everybody else does. So that's what I do now. So I'm just going around with the darker color where the shading would be. And I think on my practice one, like that's a space, but I think I colored in hair there. We'll see which looks better. I'm going to leave it as a space this time. So I just come around with the darker color around her face. And then I go back. Oh, there is something on this, probably from my vape. So I've got Cream FS6. So I come down and just grab that color, and it's going to change. It's going to get even lighter when I add the third color. Hi, Diane. And I don't have my other, my phone. I left it in the other room. And it was too late to run and get it. So I'm not sure if it's blurry, if it's doing okay. So you guys can let me know. And I will try to do better at at looking at comments. We all know I am not good at that. So I come around the face and I leave most of this white. I do come down on this line here. Sometimes I even do a little thing on the nose. We'll see it. I might come back with the darker one and do that. But it's all playing. Then I'm coming back in with the ivory, which is FS9. Yeah, see, that doesn't show up on my camera. Illustrators from Spectrum Noir. And I would love if anybody knows other people that have channels that use Spectrum Noir. I would love you to leave me the link so I can watch them. Because as you know, and if you don't, I'm telling you now, I only started this kind of coloring last summer. And just from watching people is how I've been learning that, and practice, practice, practice. So her face is almost done. I'm going to take CR1 silk and I'm going to come in and do her cheek. Then I come back again with the FS9 ivory, and I'm going to blend that out. And I don't know why I just took both off. So I'm just blending that out a little bit. And I like to leave, the middle of her face lighter. So that's her face. Does it does it look clear, Jacqueline? Yeah, I did that too for a while, Diana. I only used, my Stampin' Up, and I had to grow. I just had to grow. So, I forgot to do her arms and her, um, neck at the same time, so I'm gonna go back and do them now, and little piece of her legs. So, again, I'm starting with the TN2, the dark color, and I'm just gonna put hardly any, very light, light, light touch around her arm, in the crease of her elbows, and maybe a little bit by her wrist. You're not seeing her fingers. Oh, and then down on her leg. It's a little bit more than I wanted to put, but that's fine. It all works out in the end. So then I'm gonna go back with the FS6, bring this color down, and just blend a little bit, leaving some white space because I'm gonna come in with that other color. You can always go back and add a little bit dark. It's harder to add in light. Definitely harder. Okay, and then the FS9. Oh, I forgot her legs again. So I'm just gonna do the FS9. I think it should blend it enough. Yeah, it does. Okay. How about her neck again? Something against her neck? Okay, so I decided to keep her very light. So I use the grays and the antique pinks. So I'm gonna go in with a light Illustrator, ice gray, IG2, and inside her shirt, so I'm thinking she has 3 layers, and that's how I did it, and I only used 2 colors in here because it was just a small space. So I did the ice gray 2 and 1. I wanted to keep that very light. Okay, then her outside jacket, I also wanted to keep light, but I went up one more color. So I started with the 3 and did a little bit of shading. So like inside her shirt, it's a very just light touch. And these little creases by her armpit. I know I get a little bit more quiet. I think everybody does when they're, concentrating on a spot. So I just brought it down. So above her arm here, there's gonna be a little bit of shading. And then under here. And then inside. So then I came in with the next color, ice gray 2, and I know that doesn't show. Someday I'm gonna figure out this camera better or save up for a new one. So I'm just bringing the color up, and the same thing over here. Go over where you went before and bring it in a little bit. Oops, forgot down here. Okay, so then I'm going to come in with the number 1, IG1, ice gray one, and I'm going to fill in that white space. So that's where you're going to get your shading. And I should add a little bit under her arm as well. So I'm going to bring back the 3. Where am I? And then the outside of her, I'm going to do all in 3 of her sweater. So just a little bit darker. Oh, see, and I missed a spot down there where it's going to be also part of her shirt. So very lightly with the 3 and then the 2. Whoops. And then the 1. Okay, so we're going to now switch to the blouse. Maybe I'll do the pants first. So for that I used IG6. So here, and that's a darker gray. So you're going to have your shadows under the blouse. And it's a very light, light, light touch. And then on the creases of her cuffs, just a little bit of a line. And then there's going to be a shadow, like where it folds, like where that cuff ends. And see, I see another spot I missed. So I'm going to go back and do that too. Her blouse is, this is the 2, and I think I'm just going to do it all in that same color. Or that's actually part of the, oh, see, I messed that up there. I'm going to fix that. Hopefully it'll work out. That's actually part of this blouse. It comes down and around in the back. Duh. Okay. So let me continue with this one, and then I'll go back and try and fix that when I do the pinks. All right, so I'm going to take IG5, which is 1 number down, go over where I did, and bring it in. Yeah, I don't get even crazy anymore when I, mess up, because it'll look a little bit different, but it still comes out. Like everything is just about fixable, and if not, it's just paper. I've said that for years, and I hear a lot of other people say it. So you just want to bring it in. I throw so much paper away. I'm gonna bring this in a little more. And then the lightest color, what did I just use? 6 and 5, so I'm gonna bring in 3 if I can find it. 6, 5, it's over here, 3. So I'm skipping a color. I'm going across the whole thing, and that gives you your highlight. Okay, so pants are done. Let's go back, do the shirt, and fix that little disaster. So I'm gonna do where, like, I missed first, and I'm coming in with Antique Pink, AP4. This is the darkest one because hopefully that'll fix that. And then AP3. So I'm not gonna go with, like, a lighter shade in there. And that's the inside, so it's dark anyway. See, and you can't even tell. Okay, so for the rest of the blouse, my darkest color, I'm using the number 3. So I'm gonna go around, do my shading above her hands. And you don't even have to go around, like, everything. So she's gonna have more shading under her hands where she's hearting you. And then beneath the sweater. And sometimes I like to come up in the corner a little bit. And then here. Yes, sometimes I cut out my images and make a card. And then, let me see what else you said. Die cut, put it on top of a card you were creating, and add a sentiment and perhaps some flowers. Yes. Hi, Linda. So I'm coming in with the second color, which some people call the mid-tone. I haven't gotten all the lingo yet. So you bring it where you did your dark and just pull it out. And then I'm going to come in with oh, that was the lightest one. What'd I do at number 2? I have 1, 3, and 4. Here's number 2. So I'm going to go over that again and bring it up and just color where I did color. Although that wasn't bad shading. It didn't look horrible, but then it would, you wouldn't have that third tone. Okay, so now I can come back in with the AP1. And then that's done. All right, so for the heart on the pants, no, I don't want the 4. I'm putting the 4 away because it's too dark unless I need it to pull something out so I don't confuse myself again. So I've got AP3. Now, when you get into small images, a lot of times I only use 2 colors. If it's really teeny, I'm only going to use 1 because you just can't fit in that 3 colors. So this one, I can do the 3. So there's that little heart. For her lips, I'm bringing back the 4 because I'm going to keep her lips the same color. So I'm coming in from the sides and I'm leaving just a little bit. And then I'm going to go back in with the number 2. So it was 4 and 2. And that just leaves a little shading in her lips as well. All right, so let me put these grays, and I don't want to confuse myself again with the 4, so I'm going to put that back up in my tray, and we're going to do her boots, saving the hair for last because hair sometimes isn't fun. So with the darkest color, I'm going to go around like the tongue of the boot, and then in the back, that would be dark. So I'm just leaving that, not even shading it. And then we'll do this one. A little bit up there. And it was like a small flick, like barely touching. It's really important not to keep your tip down too long. You kind of learn these things as you're going. So I'm bringing it around the boot, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Around that flower. Now really, I think I'm gonna come in, I'm pulling that other one down again. See how I change what I do? Each time you do it, you change a few things, you see things differently. So I'm coming in and going over where I did it with the darker color. And then I'm gonna come in with the AP1, which is the lightest color for there. And then I did the inside in the lightest as well. All right, so I'm gonna bring back because I want that a little darker. So I'm going in from the sides, just kind of flicking it. And then the next one down, which is 3, over where you went. And pull it out just a hair. And then AP2, I'm doing this, oops, see it's starting to bleed because it's wet. And you want a very light touch. That's part of the reason. Light, 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 light. Sometimes I have to remind myself too. But you can fix the bleeding. I can take, this is the blender. And you just push back on it. So in this case, it's a mover. But I do use it for blending as well. So I'm going to take the AP2 and bring that in. and then the 1. And just go across that. Now, if you do too much with your lightest color, it's gonna bleach out some of your darker colors. So you wanna be careful that you don't do too much of that. Whoops, wrong side. So again, with the darkest color, and I'm coming around. So the outside of the boot, so that you see definition, um, I'm doing it, like more of the dark. More dark, less light. That's how I see it. Am I an artist? No. I didn't take any art classes. So I don't really know what's right or wrong. It's just what I've been watching and what I think. We all see a lot of things differently. Okay, then I'm gonna bring in the 2. I'm not even going to, like, a real light color. Although, this will be considered my light because I think I'm gonna bring back the number 4, which is the darkest, and I'm gonna define very lightly, almost not touching it. So it's a very fine line. And this still has, like, really a good point on it, so it's working. It's a working. You see how that makes a difference? I'm gonna do it right there too. Okay, maybe right here too. Just give a little separation. Okay, so that part's done. I guess it's time for the hair, although I still have to do her little, so I'm gonna use, want that to be like the pants were. So I'm gonna use 6. I'm just gonna come down there. And 5. So I'm only using 2 colors in this. Guess I could do her buttons. All right, so for the buttons, I'm going back to the AP3. And I'm only gonna use 2 colors in 2 of them, and this one and that one. Just get a dot of the darker color. That's AP4, AP2. You can see I'm like hesitating on the hair. I could do the flowers. All right. Time for the hair. Time for the hair. Okay, so we're gonna do IG8. And we still don't let me forget. I gotta do her eyes. So I'm coming in and I'm flicking in the direction of her hair. And then down here by her ponytail. And it is easier on a lot of things to turn your paper. And I'm not gonna apologize because it's really what you basically have to do, especially when you're learning. Like, professionals can do it in any direction. The rest of us, you gotta turn your paper or oops, and I just went out with a dark color. Yuck, yuck. Alright, that's her eyelashes, which kinda blew me away the first time. I was like, "Wait, what?" Alright, I'm gonna save well, maybe I'll just do it. I'll just do it. So I'm coming out and flicking, and then this is like the inside, so it's really going another direction. Okay. And I'm gonna come down to make that even. So before I go further, because this makes me remember that I made a hairband. Now it could Sherry could have meant that that was hair that tied it, but I used it as a ribbon or a band. So, all right. So that was either 7 or 8, I'm not sure. Let me see. I think it was 7 because this is basically the same. So I'm gonna put that aside. I'm not gonna use the 8 unless I already did. Sometimes the colors are close. I'm gonna go down to a 5. And then I'm gonna flick more so that your strokes are not even. I may have to go a color up because you don't want to see that a line between that. So let me find the 5. That was oh, I just confused myself. All right. That might have been the same one. Well, no matter what, it's going to turn out because you can always throw colors in at the end, which I do quite often. So I'm flicking out from where I was before. Hair is tricky. Hair is tricky. Now, here it should be a little darker, so I'll come back in with that. I'm coloring that. I did in the other one. I made it like the whole thing is hair. All right, I'm going to take the 4 and then I'm going to come back with the dark and throw in just a few flicks in different places just to make it come back together. All right, let's get the darker one again. 5, 7. So here, and I'm just going to throw in a few darks. I'm hardly touching it, but that's going to even it out, I hope. And then I haven't decided what to do with her bang this time. Oops. I went the wrong direction, I think. All right, I'm going to blend it with the lighter. We'll do the 4. See, there's no like rhyme or reason yet. Some hairs I do like really easy, and some are very challenging, but it's okay. I do like to have a more even stroke, which I don't have in this one, but that's okay too. All right, so I'm going to do this piece with the light, and then I think I'm going to come in with even lighter and see how that looks. So she's got a nice highlight there. And then maybe some of this will smooth that out. That's where I'm not liking it, but like I said, it's okay. Okay. I'm gonna leave well enough alone. Her eyes. So for her eyes, I brought in blue gray 2 and 1. And so it's very close to what everything else is, but it just has a little bit bluer tinge to it. Blue gray. I used a brown gray on eyes the other night, and it came out so pretty. Okay. And then we'll do the little hearts in her eyes with like a kind of a medium of the pinks. And just the one color. And then for the whites of her eyes, I like to come in with the gray IG1 ice gray and just give a little bit. Because nothing is pure white. And then the last thing is the flowers. So on the other one, I did them teal, and I'll show you that at the end. But this time, I think I'm going to do red, and I'm only using 2 tones. So I'm going to use Poppy DR2 and DR1. And then I do need a little green and a little yellow. So I'm just taking the darker and just going very bottom with such a light, light, light touch. And it's just a hair. Then I'm going to take the lighter, the DR1, and just flick up. Okay, so then I need a green. We'll do yellow green, which is LG2, and I'm going to grab dandelion for the center. And there is 2 little leaves that you can barely see. And I think I got her all. Okay, so we're gonna put her together. Except I don't have my other stamp. I couldn't have put it away. That's like not like me. Although I could have, because I was cleaning up from the last couple days. Let's see which it came out of. All right, I'll have to stamp that part later, but we'll put it together anyway. And then I'll show you the one that I already did. So I'm using some retired Stampin' Up! DSP. And I'm going to put this down to the real red. What I won't do is like totally finish the card because I might have trouble stamping that little saying. So I'll get it to here. Oh, you know what I did forget? Duh. So I'm going to take, because it looks like she's standing in the air. So I'm going to take the Ice Gray 2. And then the 1. These are such great, joining the Patreon was like probably one of the best things I've done to advance my coloring, because I took the plan with $5. So I'm getting 5 images, plus sometimes she gives extras every month. And you just download it, print it. You can print it as many times as you want. You can size it. You can make them bigger. You can make them smaller. And the first time I bought an image, it wasn't one of Sherry's. I made it huge, and I printed it out on watercolor paper and did it watercoloring and did it for my granddaughter. It was an angel. Okay, so this I would pop up and do, but this is the finished card, and I did, pop that up. So I think they came out. This one is a little bit darker in the hair. So I might go back. Oh, and I didn't do this one coming down, but I will fix that. But it's all good. I mean, nobody looks at both images together, So thank you for joining me today. I will be back next Saturday. May not be a Bestie image. I will post it because I think, I don't know, it might even be. It just depends. So I'll see you next Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye, everybody.